Sorry. Turn everything on and see. Give it a few minutes to see if anybody comes back from the bar, because I think some people went to go get something to drink. And that's important. And we've got our live feed, so if anybody is in the witness protection program, that sucks to be you. If you don't want to be recorded, just let me know. So, hey.
Sorry.
No. Have you said
No, I haven't looked at this.
I mean, it's still on so that it's only those that haven't been published.
I think so. That's what he said.
I wish you would take one.
He sounds like, come on, it's like, I keep getting things. Or next, we start Sunday.
It does look good. Savannah,
it looks good.
It's an apple cider vinegar.
Oh, might have to have you one.
Saying.
I need water.
Don't worry.
Yeah, I need. Can you give me some? I think I don't know if there's any in there, but I think it's kind of old. Yes, that would be wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Steve, for getting my water for me. All right. Write my list down, then we'll get started.
Yes, but I would but even after a little bit,
Yeah, I just writing is just personal to me, so it's difficult. That's the only reason I try it. Got it.
The first time, then the second time, you were like,
it's so close to me. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, right.
Sometimes it's really
Yeah, well, that's I think that's the key with it. I think the thing that I like from this school is that you be connected no matter what. So, I don't know. I hope that my writing is that, but the only person who's ever heard anything is my kid. Okay. Savannah. That's funny. Okay.
Should do some rather dark.
There's a Klaus.
Hi.
It's from my sister's job. Your job where I was in.
Let me know.
Huh? No. That's good. Thank you.
Come on, light.
We got more people coming in. That's amazing. That's nice. All right. Wait till we get settled. Much. Number 2. All right, get started. Might as well. All right, this is Freshly Brewed Poems. Hello? Where's the rest of the crowd over there? They're on the way? Yeah. I know. What's that? Yeah, I know. I gave them their own section. You look right with a... Yeah. So let me know if anybody's cold in here. I do have the fans on. That was warm, so is everybody comfortable? Just give me a holler if they get too much. And stuff like that. So I think you all have been here before, so you know Freshly Brewed Poems started at a coffee company. They gave us a space to do our poetry. It's now evolved into coming here. We've been here for, I think our anniversary was like last month. We've been here 2 years, I think. So. All right. So I was going to do some really dark things because it's really, really dark. I know. I guess children won't know what it is, but so, I'll go ahead and do it. So this one is called Last Time I Was Home. Last time I was home, I read a novel instead of sitting next to my mute father, his voice taken by cancer. Did I not want to think of his demise? He wouldn't die before I would see him again. He wouldn't do that. A trashy novel, a paperback romance. Why didn't I go to the hospital that night to see my mother? I ignored her, my daughter, sitting home alone while I was out. I thought she'd rather be alone or with friends than to be with me, her mother. Why would someone want to be with me? I didn't think he died. I had a glass of wine. She had her friends. Why would anyone care if I were there? It's the first time I read that one, and it was kind of hard to read that one. This one is called Orchid Dust. I've read this one before. It slipped to the bricks, a flight from a window open at midnight, the orchid given to polish the feelings rasped by an unpolished man, a tick of the fingernail, a click on clay pots, sent it to its two-story demise. Swept up with no trace by the dawn patrol of street cleaners with brooms, swept into dustbins, or maybe even rescued, with no clue to its retinue of accommodating women, silenced with a wink, a gift, a threat. A cooperation was much more prized than their worth. So its satisfying crash echoed in brick alleys, soothed more than the trinkets bestowed as gags. The beautiful orchid, more cherished dead now than it was alive. I don't know if that means anything. This one I just want to say that I didn't grow up in an abusive family, but somehow I ended up in one. So this is sort of written not from my point of view, but somebody else's. What do you see? What's your first feeling? Not the first pictures you saw, but what's your first feelings? Is it in the kitchen in year 3? The margarine stick and the taste of butter, the thing that you crave at 3. No dairy, not allowed dairy, so you ate the margarine. Took slices off of it, because you craved the butter. But what were your first thoughts? Your first feelings? Your first vision that grinds through your mind in 8mm flicker in tiny photos, black and white realities, copies and copies with dates, or VHS haunting you with static lines, the realities of failed technology, outdated? You didn't back it up. So what do you see? What does your mind's eye feel? The atrocities of your memory, not plain old pictures of Santa encounters, but the frying pan on your mother's temple. Was it your first memory? What is your first memory? Yeah. Thank you. So feel free to read anything that you like, like I just did, and I've never exposed myself like that. But I usually read the really sweet ones about love and stuff. But I am glad to see everybody here. I think I have convinced Savannah to be next. And I think this is one of her first. So let's give her a warm welcome. Yes.
Hi, my name is Savannah. I'm going to be reading my poems to a group for the first time. The only other person who has ever heard this is my therapist. So I guess you guys are pretty lucky. I don't know. Maybe not. Okay, I only have two. I'm going to start with the first one. They're both also, I really like melancholy. So I would say melancholy, but also a little happy at the same time. Can't have sadness without happiness. Alright. I used to find myself trapped in a cage, backed into a corner, trapped. It was never sudden, just slowly, over time. When I found myself there, I would bare my teeth, kick, scream, howl, begging to know why I deserved to be held captive here. But my fists revolved so tight with anger, I didn't even realize inside of my bone white bare-knuckled clenches was the key. I desperately clawed at the lock, twisting the key, and peered out of my cage. The smell of freedom made me nauseous, and I turned and I heaved and heaved and heaved. Each time more nothing came out, and I wondered, was this cage keeping me safe, or was it holding me captive? It had been so long that I did not know. All I knew was that there had to be something better. When I first stepped foot outside my cage, I felt like one of those lab rat beagles whose feet had touched grass for the first time. A world where I got to choose felt so foreign. I had spent so many years backing myself into a corner and making myself a victim. I had forgotten to ask, what do I deserve? I slipped the key in my pocket and I tried not to bare my teeth at those who offered their hands. In a world where I get to decide, I wanted myself to be enough. But the key still weighed heavy in my pocket. It said, is it not easier just to submit? The thing about submitting is there is nothing lifelike there, no pink in the cheeks, no glimmer behind the eyes, no wrinkles turned up at the corner of a smile, only a shell. The key still weighs heavy. Some days it feels lighter than others. Oftentimes I will shove my hands in my pockets and trace the familiar outline of my pain. There is no beauty without suffering, no joy without pain, and I would swim the depths of the ocean just to get a chance to live again. I have one more. This one is titled Love, a Summer Storm. The thunder rolled in, succumbed by the midsummer heat. Each break in the sky drew me closer to myself. I've always ached to know the love of a mother's caress, to be held tightly through the storm. Instead, the wind whispers that it loves me. The branches bend and sway, inviting me in. The sky seems to defy against the cruel heat, roaring in recalcitrance so the rain may never come. I have always ached to know a true lover's touch, one that could withstand the storm. There is such beauty in the resurgence of pain. There is no suffering like the kind that bellows in defiance of the rain. Once the ground is wet, once the clouds have rolled on, the flourishing makes way. The air is so thick and hot it envelops anyone in its path. The sky darkens and fades as the heat makes way for an embrace, forever indented to drape in its dewy glow. I have always ached to know the embrace of unconditionality, to stand strong even in the impermanent dusk. Lightning cracks illuminating the sky, the thunder rumbles once more, alerting me that the storm has finally arrived. I am not alone.
How'd that feel? Yeah. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. So we have another person who's new in Dakota, and you have your so yeah, you saw how it's done. It's not so bad. So we do poetry and we do prose and we do spoken word. So any form that you have, you're welcome.
So good evening, everyone. My name is Dakota, and I'm not going to lie, I actually have a little bit of a one-up. I am not much of a poet. I haven't done any type of poetry since about high school, but the past 2 to 3 months, I've been doing a lot of journaling, and in the past week or two, I had to do something that it struck a core fear of mine, and I had to let go of a lot of good people that they were good people, it just wasn't working out, and the friendship ended. I was writing about my experience through it, and I decided to make a poem out of it, and that's where the first poem comes from. It's called She Was Not the One. She was not the one, but she was the one that taught me how to let go without an apology. She was not the one, but she was the one sent to help me get over the one that got away. She was not the one, but she was the one that reminded me to respect my worth when I had forgotten how to value myself. She was not the one, but she was the one that taught me not to be afraid to cut ties with those who I feel don't treat me fairly. She was not the one, but she was the one that reminded me pain is a passage and not a prison. She was not the one, but she was the one that taught me how to heal and prepared my heart for a love that is. She was the one. She was the one that taught me how to love again, but she was not the one. And then I have one more that the second one is a little bit more near and dear to my heart. And the people that know me know that this poem, this is me, if you know me very well. And actually my buddy James, he probably already knows what the last line is going to be. This one's called I Choose Happiness. Life is filled with challenges, storms we never asked for, paths we didn't choose, where we are born, who we love, or the state of the world we live in. Life is too short to be miserable all the time, and there is one thing I hold on to. I choose how I respond, and I choose happiness. I choose to see the light at the end of the tunnel, the sun coming out at the end of the storm, and the positives of a dark time. When I choose positivity, I treat myself with kindness. I make the world a better place. It does not erase the pain of a hard time, but it helps me get through it. When I choose positivity, I choose the relationships that help me grow, that fill up my cup, who remind me that I am enough, and let go of the ones that dim my light. I choose happiness. I choose the small things as well as the big, my dog's reactions when I get home from work, the beauty of nature around me, the joy of a successful session at Hot Yoga 110, a rugby practice where I did better than I did last week, the warmth of the good people around me and cherished memories, and the light that waits beyond the dark. You can stay in the tunnel and sit in the darkness, or you can walk towards the light. And I choose happiness again and again and again, because every day is another great day to be great. Woo! Thank you.
Thank you. I tell you, I'm not surprised either. When he walked in, I looked at him and he came up to me like I should have known who we had already met. So he's the type of person that, yeah. So that was great.
Can I just say something
Sure.
about that?
Yeah.
It's super short.
So we'll make you, it was really another course, which is the.
Oh, yeah, I'm not gonna read any poetry because I'm really not good at that. But this kid, he's a stellar kid.
Sorry.
Funny enough, I met him through a really awkward situation where we work. It's a bank, and that bank was going through some turmoil. And my boss shoved me in there, and I asked my boss what I did wrong to deserve being shoved in there. But I got to meet Dakota. And Dakota, he's a pretty special kid. So much so that the last line in his poem, I still play every morning at the opening of the bridge. I have it recorded. You guys want to hear it? It's every single morning that we play this. And you know what? It's just something that is good. It's another great day to be great. Woo! And that is everyone in such a good mood. So you know what? That's great.
Thank you, Jane. So every day be great. Right. I like that. My late fiance used to go, whoa! I would ask him, we would go someplace and I said, just do me a favor. Just don't woo-hoo in the middle and turn up. Woo would come out at some point in time. So you and I would be buds. But there was somebody in number 4, Babs. So Babs will be next, then Celeste, and then Klaus.
Hi guys, I'm Babs. I've been trying to think about how to read this, and I wrote it to be a song. I don't have an instrument, but I would like to sing it, if that's okay.
Yeah,
Allowed?
yeah, absolutely.
Chase out.
Check it out.
For context, the name of this poem/song is 5/14. It's the date of Mother's Day, which was the year I wrote it, and I was raised Pentecostal. I'll probably skip some choruses, because otherwise this will take like 5 minutes. You stay at home, nothing left. I read your cards, and you drew death. I left for a while to catch my breath. I sat out on the back porch steps. I pried your hands from around my neck, and you spilled your goddamn drink all over my favorite dress. Holly Hill and chloroform. Love is not in a college dorm. Windows open in a thunderstorm. Burning bridges to keep me warm. And the kids all know you married too young. You took a shot and you jumped the gun. And now you don't have anyone. You're scared to fight and you're scared to run. I did my chores and said my prayers. I promise not to cut my hair. I don't believe that you were ever really there. Just judging from the vacant stare. Called my sister yesterday. She said we're so damn lucky that we got away. Holly Hill and chloroform. Love is not in a college dorm. married too young. You took a shot and you jumped the gun, and now you don't have anyone. You're scared to fight and you're scared to run. You left your mind far away up north, and you never should have had a fourth. You stay at home, wasting away. And I hope you had a happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day.
We do have a piano, actually, which is kind of cool. So if anybody does want to ever play the piano, that's cool. Yeah.
I would have played it. I didn't know.
Next time, no, I just thought about it. You come again, then. Yes, absolutely. So we have Klaus, I think, was next, and then Klaus, I think. Cool. And make sure to tell us about other gigs. Good. Everybody okay with the fans? Do we need to turn them off? Good. Ladies. Oh,
So good evening. So the first thing I'll do before I read is, well, first of all, my name is Celeste. I've been here quite a few times, so you're probably familiar with me. There's two things that are coming up. I have a group called Poetry, Prose, and Spoken Word, and what I'm doing is every third Friday of the month, I'll be holding a workshop, and it's entitled Poetry, Jam, and Creative Writing Throwdown, and it will be held at the 5 Point Center for Active Adults every third Friday of the month from 3 to 5 p.m. There are some flyers like this. They're back there. So I would love it if you just come out and join. It is a 2-hour slot, so we will be doing round robins. We'll be reading poetry. We'll take some time. We'll write and talk and do different things. I don't have any set plan. It's nothing formal. It's just where people who love to write, whether it's poetry, prose, or spoken word, just get together and just share what we have, okay? The other one, Janice Fields, unfortunately, her brother died, so she's not here with me tonight, but she actually has a workshop that's going to be held the last 2 Tuesdays of the month at the Worthdale Community Center between 4 and 6 p.m. Hers are called Mature Voice Poets. This is her flyer. So she would like you, if you're interested, to come out and show support. She is going to be actually teaching spoken word, the techniques of spoken word. So if you're really interested in learning how to master spoken word, then, by all means, come on out and join her. So that's all I have as far as announcements. But the flyers are back on the bar if you're interested.
sounds good. Back on the bar.
Okay, so I'm going to share one poem that I wrote about my dog. I had a dog named JC, and he was a white West Highland Terrier. He was actually the, what dog was that? The Caesar dog, the little Caesar dog from the little Caesar commercial. And I lost him, and he died around this time, about 8 years ago. And I think of him very often. I have another dog. This is a poem I wrote about him. And then I'm going to share a couple poems by some other authors that I found that I really think are pretty cool. Okay, so this one is called JC. I long for those days spent with you, my friend. The sound of your barking as you greeted me, the wag of your tail. The kisses from you to me, how you'd snuggle in as we sat on the couch for hours on end. We had 10 wonderful years filled with love and adventure. I will never forget our last hours together. They're as vivid today as they were then. me wanting you to settle down and stay inside. It was cold, but you barking to be let out with me finally giving in as always. Who would have thought that once I let you back in that night, it would be my last time. Letting you back in, our last time together. As you curled up on the floor in your pillow and lay quietly looking at me as the night drew to an end, and I readied myself for bed, stopping to say I love you and pet you before slowly making my way to my bedroom upstairs. And while expecting to see you again the next day, I didn't expect that you would leave me that night. You never gave a hint that it was your time, our time, to part ways. But as we slept, you passed over. So that was, I wrote that the day, like after he died. It was real, it was like, I've cried for family members. I never thought I would cry for a pet like I did for him, but that's a poem. And I'm always in Barnes and Noble. It gets me in a lot of trouble because I'm always buying a lot of books, $100 worth of books. And I found this book called Love and Misadventure by a young lady named Blaine Liaz. And I found two very, very short ones from her. It's a question. It was a question I had worn on my lips for days. Like a loose thread on my favorite sweater I couldn't resist pulling, despite knowing it could all unravel around me. Do you love me? I asked. In your hesitation, I found my answer. That was the first. And then she has one entitled A Betrayal. I cannot undo what I have done. I cannot unsing a song that's sung. And saddest thing about my regret, I can't forgive me and you can't forget. This one is a little longer, so I won't read that one. But this book, she has about 10 different books, and I like reading other poets because a lot of times we get into writing so much of our own stuff that it's always nice and refreshing to just kind of look out and see what's out there and see how other people express themselves. So thank you.
That's right. I'm the host, aren't I? Klaus, go ahead. It's like I'm just having a good time, just walking around.
Thank you, everyone. I usually, recently with all the bad stuff going on in the country and around the world, I usually read political poems. But I thought I would read 3 love poems today.
Oh.
Because actually the reason I care about politics is because I love the world and I love people and I don't like seeing what's going on. But let me mention, I have 3 books over there. They're mine. There's also an anthology. Please come and talk to me and take a look at the books. Price is totally sliding scale. They even give some away. I have some that are meant to be given away. Oh, thank you. Okay, where's your money? and also there's some political stuff there. But anyway, I'll start. So this first poem was written in Merida, Mexico, along the coast. And I should say that when I was younger, I used to fall in love pretty much every day or 2 days. So this is just someone I saw on the beach there in Merida. It's short. A flower sprouts from milky sands. Against its bloom, no beauty stands. As its Mobius strip of delicate skin undulates in infinite rhythmic sin, all classic temples decry their shapes, and the gods unveil my gentle fate. Sun, sky, sea, and sand still time, as symphonic sounds fall from its lips and mine. Its fragrance floats on gentle breeze under jagged shade of palm tree rings, inciting boundless ageless dreams as passion's waves wash over me. This one, I met a woman on a bus, and we actually met her at a ruin in Mexico, but then we were taking a bus ride together, and I wrote her this poem on the bus when I was sitting next to her. And her nickname was Negra, which I think means dark or something. And she was a sculptress, so this is a short one also. It's called La Poesia para Itati. Well, that was her name, Itati. Senorita Tati, Negra Bonita, you are the savior of God. You left me doubting him because of his indifference to the world which he created. Fine art gone awry. Leaving humans to their own devices, a foolish mistake to ruin his paradise. Yet finally, after endless failure, he has redeemed himself completely, atoning for atrocities present, past, and future in a sculpture named Itati, both elegant and sublime. Having you near, it seems the bluest skies pour over me, like flowing sweetest honey, and the passing clouds become the shapes which you create with lovely hands, leaving me wishing only that you would lay your head upon my shoulder and slumber there forever. This is from one of my books that's over there. There are 138 poems, I think, in this book, and most of them are, not most, but the largest section is love poems. This is a little bit longer, but I think I'll fit within my 5-minute limit here. It's called Lover's Reverie. Oh, and this is about a woman who I met. She was had a salon at her house, and she would invite all these poets and artists, and once a month or every 2 weeks or whatever it was. And she was beautiful and very cultured, and she was married, which was not a good thing. But. So anyway, I wrote this poem for her. Oh, I wrote this poem on someone told at the salon. He said the greatest love poem is Song of Solomon in the Bible. And I said I wasn't familiar with that, so I went home and read Song of Solomon in the Bible, and it has so many beautiful things in it. So I said, I'm going to write a poem at least as good as that. And I wrote it about her. It's called Lover's Reverie. I think of you. I want to reach out and connect with you, contact you from this other world which I've inhabited of late. A world neither here nor where, neither then nor when, with no chronology, no geography, no understanding, only essence, being, undiluted meaning. Just pure life, oceans of pure life, and floating thereon points of light shining like a Google zillion candles, fireflies in the night, all ignited by the lucid dreams inspired by the fusion of our two hearts, the two sparks for which the universe seems to have been formed to nurture and cradle, the reason all creation had its start. You've propelled me into this other world where I've ventured less frequently with age, and here I think of you. But I'm afraid to reach out and connect with you. Afraid you will be there, but not the you I've created in my head. Not the you of love, but instead the you with other commitments. The you of flesh and blood. The you who's chained to the real world. The you too soon boxed in a small life in a small house, out of touch with the dimensions I travel in. A wife of just one reality. The you who seems to forget that her soul spans the totality. The you who occupies a small lump of flesh, the kind of lump I used to like to press and call it making love. What shallowness, what folly, what insolence, what depth. For it is real love I'm just now beginning to glimpse in all its enormous breadth. I've seen but a single room of this Patala palace. Mesmerizing, awe-inspiring, trance-inducing, overpowering. And this room just hints at 1,000 others, 1,000 rooms I could discover for 1,000 years and never be bored. And I could explore them for 1,000,000 lives with you as my lover and yet desire 1,000,000 more. Your eyes seem the reason my eyes have been created. Your voice the reason for my ears. Your thoughts the reason for my mind. Your pain the reason for my tears. Your lips the reason for my mouth, your body the reason for my arms, your scent, your hair, your skin, all the reasons I was born. I want to fly into unexpected worlds with you, reach higher than anyone has ever reached, go farther than the farthest journey, deeper than the deepest sea. Visit the four corners of the universe and return in a single night. Discuss nuance upon subtlety of this and that, and wrong and right, and all the while holding you tight. Our love will be so vibrant as to endure beyond our depths, perpetually glowing as warm as our final passionate breaths. even warmer than the love of those who will yet exist. The stories of our union will be the stuff of myths. Our love will stand in eternal monument as our poetic thoughts in rhyme, to inspire new love among devoted lovers in every place and for all time. I think of you. I want to reach out and connect with you, contact you from this other world where I float in the rarefied ether of soft dreams, where jazz horns meow and quack, piano notes roll over sun-filled bowls, kittens attack paper sacks, and my heart beats out the rhythm of the universal soul. Where plants breathe into me the breath of life, and their flowers become my eyes, eyes with which I can see only you. The synthetic you I've created, I realize, but forgivably so, out of sweet desire and innocent lies. Regardless of all that, you do in fact play in my memory, along with the jazz and the sun and the cat. But do I want just that or reality? I have you now, the ideal you I know and feel I've known for centuries. The you with the soul that projects across epochs and galaxies. But that projection of love isn't real unless it's your own expression, leading to the one and only overwhelming question. Dare I profess my love to you in dimensions more mundane, without hope that you feel the same, with every prospect that then the life will drain forever from this lover's reverie. In the postscript, I went out to lunch with her and I read this to her. She said, "Oh, I would totally be interested, but I'm already having another affair."
The intrigue is getting this corner over here. I apologize for the doors. I have never heard the doors this noisy. I don't know. It's like they're purposely slamming now as they go in and out. Except for that young lady. Thank you. So I apologize. You know, I always say it's sort of like, you know, if you go to a coffee shop, you're going to get the latte machine going, but we get the doors. So it is what it is, you know. And so that's very nice. I should applaud everybody who comes in quietly. That door, I think, usually we tape the thing, and I think the tape is, you know. So, my dears, it is your turn. And then I think he signed up too. Yay! All right. Since we got a little noisy, so, you know, you thank you guys. Did you get that? I'm going to put these on the board for us. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Yeah. The title of the poem is The Revolt of Time. Carrying access to my door, time fights against me. Carrying access to my door, time fights against me. Time rebels against the faces he has none. Time rebels against the faces he has none. Cutting trees and carrying logs, my father communes with the forest, sowing the great respect for a friend wise and world. To this poignant rhyme of nature, the sun listens in the rapt attention. The moon likewise nods along. Time moves on. The moon likewise. Every night in her lust for life, my mother summons fireflies. She takes the flame of earth in her womb and gives birth to time. Time has known my face. Time has known my face ever since I have known his. I once moved with it as a friend once, but now each night and every day he fights with me, carrying access to my door. Carrying access to my door, time fights against me, time rebels against the faces he has none. Thank you. That was my poem. Thank you so much. And here is one thing, like today, my husband Ezekeil is also reciting poems, so I would like to myself announce, also invite him to this poetry band. Aswin.
Thank you.
Well, what happened actually was that Rick said, we carpooled here, and Rick said that he's not going to recite any political poems. Like, I'll step up and recite a few in your stead. So, I'm not a poet. These are probably the first 3 poems I've ever written in my life. So, all right. So here, I'll start with a silly one. So it's called AI Haiku. M-M-M. Dash M dash M dash M dash M dash M dash M. All right. The next one is temporary truce. It's also a bad haiku. Temporary truce. Frog boiled a bit slower. Gassed by an excuse. All right.
Haikus are hard. You can always repeat them too.
And the last one that I wrote while sitting here is called Malop 2025. It's an update, a new version, if you will, of an old poem. Malop 2025. Malop refuses your meal. Your children are too fat. Those tasteless, empty calories are bad for his gut. Mammon rebukes your worship. You've shortchanged him. Your weightless, witless forgeries are bad for his purse. Baal cringes at your groveling. You're too servile for his taste. Your rainbow graffitied gilded goat is bad for his image. Satan sighs at your misdeeds. He finds it lacking in ambition. Your petty, pointless cruelty is beneath evil itself.
Thank you. Sit there and you just wrote that sitting there too. That's cool. John just does that, doesn't he? Awesome. So we have, thank you. Thank you guys. Monica, Ezekeil, and Anita. So, Monica, where's this
I've been writing portraits lately, kind of, whether I shared them or not, it's kind of in a hope that I and others around me will be able to see more of the beautiful world we live in and the people in it, and be able to identify with it. I feel like there's so much that we lose every day just being in our heads or in somebody else's head. So this first one is called, in honor of Halloween, Haunting the New York Subway. When I was at the World, we would take the subway almost everywhere. After the escalator ascended, I felt magically transported to the highest place I'd ever been. The Statue of Liberty is much higher, Mom always reminded me. Sometimes we would be surrounded by a flock of lovely girls, bedecked in tassels and pearls as they chattered and giggled their way into the night. I wondered to myself where they were going and if, when I was older, I would be pretty and grand enough to go. Mama gripped my hand tightly as I curled up in the seat beside her, murmuring aloud to myself the pages of Heidi, which I was reading for the 5th time. I knew I would never share her. I knew I would never share with her my ponderings of a sumptuous life. And then, one time only, Mama disappeared for just a moment. We were running late to the train, and she had dropped our tickets on the platform above. "Stay right here, little darling," she told me as she darted up the steps. I had every intention to stay right where I was. But then the woman in blue happened. She carried a fleet of red balloons, fluttering against each other as she brushed past me. The woman passed close to the tracks, anxiously reaching for her phone to check the time. She gasped as she realized her hand had released the balloons. There they were, free and flying over the tracks. And somehow, there was I on the tracks and grasping for the elusive floating balls. I hardly remember the train, but I think it came as a rush of light. I recall no crash and no pain. The next thing I remember is sitting on a bench in the back of the train, this time without Mama, thumbing through a paperback Heidi and grasping a flock of balloons. Most don't pay me any mind. Hardly anyone sees me, though I'm convinced some can feel me there. Sometimes there will be an impromptu mariachi concert or rap battle. When I clap, captivated, there is utter silence, and I know I've been heard. They still don't know what they're afraid of. I guess I will never be one of the lovely girls. Not now. The train is an enchanting abode. This one is called An Amber Light. A wayfaring siren, he dazzled in ragged garments encrusted with plastic gems and beads, moved through the subway, scarcely observed. Hot and exhausted, she pressed her cheek against the cold metal of the armrest. She traveled precariously through the narrow, meandering within the sea of strangers. Small stones embedded in the city pavement shone bright as she clipped her heels to what she hoped was a new life. The river glistened in the moonlight, reflecting a scattered and smeared sense of hope. Smeared like the makeup she'd been wearing for approximately 55.2 hours. Scattered like the pieces of her heart across 3 states. With difficulty, she clipped down the street on blistered feet, one of her heels precariously close to breaking. Searching for the warm light of an antique lamppost outside a teal bungalow. She walked and walked. The sea of people slowly dissipated. One amber light shone out from the second story, blending into the front garden, bathed in warm yellow light. The house hadn't changed a bit. She hoped the same was true of her. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. I love stories like that. That's awesome. A couple of things I was going to say. If anybody knows of other events that are coming up, make sure that you mention them. If you yourself have gigs that you're doing, let us know about it. One of the ones that's a really good thing that's coming up is Heron Clan is looking for people to submit poetry to their anthology. It's going to be October 30th. That's his deadline. Just ask for 3 poems each. Doesn't mean that the 3 poems will get in there, but they will go under consideration. Doesn't cost anything. The only cost is $5 to buy extra books. But if you enter the 3 poems, you get 1 book free. Klaus has got some of the one of the recent books right there. He also does a open mic on Zoom on Sundays from 2 to 4 or 2 to 3, depending on how many people there. So if you want more information, let me know. But he is looking for some more people to put some poems in the book. And it's a really good community because you really need a lot of different poets. Even the poet laureate, Shelby. Oh gosh, I forget. That's what happens when you get older. I can't remember. That's my excuse. But anyway, so we've got some really big names in that. So that was one thing I was going to say, and I've got some other ones that I think. Sure.
Howdy.
Oh, sorry, it's gosh.
That's okay. I'm Ezekeil. I do poetry. Sometimes. This works. I do poetry sometimes. Speaking of events, I just went to Cloud Brewing does a weekly open mic every Sunday, and you get 15 minutes.
15
Everyone gets 15 minutes. That's so many poems. I had a blast. Oh my God.
How long was the whole thing?
There aren't that many people doing it.
Okay.
So, I mean, it was like a lot of musicians and stuff.
Okay.
They would do 2 or 3 songs.
Okay.
It was at Cloud Brewing. And they have good beer.
Not a free beer. They just have good beer. Anyways, I'll do some poetry now. This poem, been eating a lot of oatmeal. So I wrote a poem about it. I remain the continuation of dull breakfast options. I have had oatmeal for 5 days now. It sits in me, accumulating like heavy metals in my soft tissues. It is traditional to be awake for life, to live past oatmeal. I'm struggling with this. Thank you.
I like the look. I like it.
This is fun. I like this.
I know.
I wrote this one. I was thinking about my younger self. That's pretty motivating to write a poem, I think, for most people. So I wrote this one about my younger self. It's called How Greatly I Wish to Become. I hold you still. I've kept a room tucked so safe behind my eyes you can see the becoming. The ink wiped between palms, a secret handshake we came up with in our room, hoping so early to be someone. I've made your bed now. Food for you, your favorites. I'm sitting, waiting. If you'd like to visit, to see how you've grown, your new face, to say that you're proud. Thank you. And then the last one, do you guys want like a Halloween poem or okay, cool, that's easy. This one's fun. I've been reading Stephen King. I've just finished Pet Sematary. I'm not that into horror traditionally, very scared person, generally. But I was like, a book, I could do a book. Still really scary book. But I wrote this because he inspired me. It's a rhyming poem. I'll probably do another one that's prose, maybe. Who knows? This is called Dead Reckoning. Crescent carved between bare sticks on this night, both blued and bleary, lighting grass like candle wicks, the dead reckoning present clearly, lit now with quaint glow, spirits for me swaying to and fro. Drudging weary, dragging forms of woeful eerie, eye on knees, begging teary, in voices past, the question asked, doth this'n stand to live or die, who taketh life of passerby? The caucus chants, eye for eye. In that night the echoes rung of butchered man and torn out tongue, though the dead left he for mourn and body rot of tortured scorn. The night still rings, when blued and bleary, of he on knees, begging, peary. Thank you.
What yours here?
What's that? I think you are next, right? Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah, I think it ran out of water. Yeah, be sure to introduce yourself because I'm bad about, I assume everybody knows everybody.
Okay, I hope you can hear me.
Yeah.
So my name is Anita. So what I'm going to read is in the Vine of Love. Thank you for talking about that, but with a context of the sun, moon, stars. Give me 1 second. Here we go. It's called Sun. Sun. He gave her the moon, tucked away behind clouds, hidden. The rays to his slumber, sometimes dark, sometimes light, sometimes both. She cried, missing the sun more, weeping at the moon. Where did the sun go? She cried. Night looked for sun, imploring her brothers to find him. Stars twinkling in epic wars, constellations searching for sun. But he was there in purest form, his mortal part.
Asleep, his heart speaks, fragile, yet beating. For all his brilliance, his heart was shy. I'm here, always beside you. Rain fell from night, tears, tearing pain held tight. Why didn't you tell me? Night softened, pulling the moon closer. I thought you knew. It's hard to love a mortal. So this was all based on like Calypso and Pirates of the Caribbean. All right. The next one is Moon. And I'll explain a little bit after. Moon. She met the sun, rested in its amber hues among tender clouds. On crisp midsummer nights, cotton thread pulled sweet, lingering notes in the sky. Then she stood, veiled behind opaque clouds, christening the bare night. Rest, moon child, she whispers. Soothe the howling soul, child. Visible, she cracks the sky, splitting the universe with her brilliance. Soothe the soul, be still. Soothe away the howl, moon child, she chants. The wolf in where is no more. The moon calls to the moon child. Not where is child, moon child. Child of moon and sun, chant your mother's song. Soothe away the howl, be still. Remember cotton candy skies, sickly sweet, like clouds of moon summer nights, child of sun and moon. And that's just where people. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
That's all right, okay. Good to see you.
Well, June and Adria and Janice. And I should say I met June at I also do a freshly brewed during the day, if anybody is available during the day on the first Wednesday of the month. So everybody's available for that. I'm doing the Monday.
So I wrote a book. This is part of it. And then I do have one other poem. So 5. Therapists will often ask, when did you feel loved as a child? For me, the answers burn brightly because they were so few and far between. The moment I felt like the most important person in the world, totally loved by my mother, was when she cast me as the dead girl in a vacation Bible school play. I was to lay still and act dead until Jesus came and brought me back to life. Pretending to be invisible was easy. It wasn't really pretend, since I always felt that way. When I opened my eyes on command, my mother squealed with joy, scooped me into her arms, and cried. I suppose she could only show so much loving kindness towards me if it were an act, a charade. So many moments with my mother were accompanied by a feeling of suffocating, of helplessness, of invisibility, screaming on the inside, begging for understanding, begging for the love and care of my mother, the one given, the one entitlement that all children deserve outright. I wonder if I ever had that. Surely I would remember. Remember a time that I wasn't sacrificing myself to meet her where she was, where she refuses to leave. Everyone in my mother's life is expected to do so, to come to her, to break themselves for her. My grandparents and aunts and family friends, everyone. She and I were never close. I often felt as though she hated me. Maybe she too held me responsible for my uncle's death. Wondered why I was his last thought, the not good enough thought. My mother taught me the first rule of survival. Love is earned in stillness, in quiet obedience, in being seen only when someone decides to look. That's how I learned to perform for love, to be good enough only when I was dying for it, to stay still, quiet, obedient, until someone decided I was worth bringing back. It became a pattern I carried into every relationship, romantic, familial, even maternal. I learned that love had to be earned through suffering, through silence, through perfection. I can see now that I mistook pity for affection, attention for intimacy, and performance for connection. I became the dead girl again and again, waiting to be chosen, revived, forgiven. And every time, I came back a little less alive. So my uncle killed himself when I was a kid, and I was the last name on the suicide note. 18 months after Chuck's death, I asked to listen to that recording, that song, those moments when my grandfather shared his heartbreak with our closest family and friends. We sat in my father's makeshift office, a space next to the laundry room, the space that held his hopes and dreams, his prized possessions, his identity, a whisper of what had been in the home he loved and lost. Cramped and poorly lit, the focus was a rickety wooden table and big, soft, rolling chair. Projects consisting of chemistry equipment or computer parts were replaced with a lone tape recorder for the occasion. My bare feet skipped along the cold cement floor, blanket dragging behind me. He lifted me up and I was deposited onto his spacious lap. All arms and legs, he was folded like origami, nestled into the well-worn grooves of his favorite spot. That chair was as much a part of my father as my blanket was of me. It likely offered the same level of comfort. I outgrew mine. He did not. As the recording played, I relived the hours of that day, the days before and after. I cried, sucked my thumb, and clutched my blanket. 18 months of grief, heartache, fear, and suicidality. It's hard to remember a time when I didn't want to die, when the thought didn't comfort me to some degree. After all, in the end, our dreams become reality. In the end, our sorrow is no more. My father wrote of heaven as if it were the ultimate goal, the prize, the reward for believing. My parents were never good at grief. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord was hanging on my wall. It was a command, an expectation. Positivity at all costs, or Christ died for nothing. Seems awkward to clap too, but I appreciate it. All right, and then this last one is, I don't know, it's about the soulmate that I love and lost. Grief is in the sometimes. Sometimes I write love letters to a woman I never met. Sometimes I thanked her for dying. Sometimes I try her story on for size. Sometimes I know I would have done the same. Sometimes I wish I never knew. Sometimes I wish you hadn't waited on me. Sometimes. Thanks.
Thank you. Andrea and then Jazz. Needed no introduction.
Hi.
Hey.
This is a poem I wrote called Haunted and Home. I wrote this poem and the other poem I'm going to share when I started a new antidepressant, and it actually caused me to be psychotic, so I wasn't aware of it.
Make sure you get close to the mic.
Oh, thank you. I'm a house that is both haunted and home. There are versions of myself clawing themselves out of the wooden frame of walls I buried them in. Their vixen scream escapes, echoed by esophagus, whistled through windows whose light reflects in my eyes, acid reflux stains plaster, saliva falls from my mouth as I become perceptualized to others as a rabid fox in the south. Plywood splinters, structure shakes, and plaster pales, while kids from Monster House see me and wail. I've become a poltergeist. I may haunt you, but I promise I never meant to hurt you. I do not flicker the lights on and off in an attempt to harm you. That one's actually just a loose bulb. And you don't have faulty wiring for not believing me. Not many people are willing to hear a ghost out. But I'm still going to dim the lights when you fall asleep, when your head hits bed, box tied in silk black bonnet. I would have written love letters to the safety you showered me with in the morning dew of your glass house that I was so lucky to bear witness to. But when our palms pressed together, the thin mirror between us cracked with reflections of our past causing us to shatter, clatter, and collapse. And the other one I wrote is called SpongeBob's Burning Brain Files. The words drip from your mouth. Hot honey and sweet laughter, eyes soft holding mine while I sit frozen. I know who you are, and I know it's just a funny joke about gaslighting. But I'm already 2 feet from my body, stretching for the control center, fingers frantically finding dials to erase radio static in ears, finally finding the right button to send my external response. On my mind screen, you smile and turn away. The response was a success. Internally, I've become the scene from SpongeBob when he's burning all of his brain files. We got an order from the boss. Dump everything that isn't about survival. Everything? Everything. Go, 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 go. SpongeBob said, this is just a clever visual metaphor to personify the abstract concept of thought. Or is it? Because I really do have brain bobs in my head, and they did burn everything that wasn't labeled under survival. Shreds of our memories remain, but they don't feel real anymore. Months became blurry shots captured by smudged lens, and my spirit became cracked shell tangling itself between timelines. Logically, I know you're safe, but every instinct inside in cell tells me I, amoeba, get the fuck out of here. Steam powering our isotopes to isolation, burning bridges to prevent future pain, to preserve self, to find somatic safety. How do I convince these parts of me that it was a joke when you looked me in the eye? The tiny SpongeBobs in my head were pissed. They protested, they yelled, this friendship is unfair, the abusers are in there. Eventually, my paddy wagon was running off air fryer fumes, so I stopped to fill up my temporal lobe's tank. But the protesters caught up and locked me in the trunk. I knew I was moving, but I didn't know where I was going. All of August and most of September is black and bumpy. I have feelings that gave me an idea of actions during that time, but it's a phantom phone vibration. It feels like it's there, but I would have to check my pocket to make sure. I promise I want to be a goofy goober too, and I promise I'm trying. But I feel like I'm cemented to the salty splatoon. It feels like someone shoved the chum bucket hat on my head, silencing any adaptive neural networks to where I feel out of control or like I'm still under theirs. So thank you for trying to pick up the pieces, for still trying to pull the bucket from overhead, and I'm sorry it's metal, bit, and blood your flesh. I'm sorry you knew me as a jellyfish jelly sandwich in a striped sweater, only to be hiding chum under bun and pickles under tongue. Thanks.
That's awesome. That's the background. She doesn't supposed to be up here organizing things. So, Janice, we have that, and yeah. Got quiet in here. Did you want to go?
Hi, my name is Jasmine. This is my first time, so
Yay!
I have two poems. They're unfinished, but I'll share them anyway. So I don't have titles for either of them, so I'm just going to read. The first one says, sadness and anger, these feelings are homegrown, stemming from when my dad left me alone. Told me I was his princess, but all I have left is the memory of his caress. 7 years and no calls, still don't know why you left it at all. Behind you, packed it all up and began anew, like a bird from the nest you flew. Guess you forgot about the family you had, started over and became a better dad. But what about what you left behind? What you found you didn't need to find? What about us? Tell me what about this is just? And then the second one, no title, but so, they say that eyes are windows to the soul, and if you look in mine, here's what you'll find. In the first room, here's the view, a baby girl born to a faith-filled mother and a faithless father. A dynamic that led to a divorce which distorted the young girl's dreams. Now she dreams of being seen, but feels unclean, asking herself what does it all mean, wishes she could be free. Move on to room number 2. She's a child now, asleep on the floor, a tap on the shoulder, and a short walk to the bathroom door led to things being explored that should have been ignored. Room number 3. On the playground, she messes around with boys when she should be playing with toys. The conscience unable to process the traumatic thoughts that tumble around in her mind. Does the only thing it knows how, it shuts down and drowns out the sound of memories that would later be found. By the teenager in room number 4, who awakens night after night with tear-filled eyes, haunted by dreams of things better not seen, she doesn't know what it all means. Confronted by the truth of troubled youth, does whatever it takes to soothe the painful bruise of a child that was used. Now she's in a college town, trying to make her way around, but doesn't realize she's bound, wound in chains of unresolved pain. Resolve begins to wane. Yes, she's living, but she's not alive. Some days she barely has the strength to rise. This is the state of room number 5. And she still isn't free, still doesn't know what it all means. She still feels unclean, wonders if anyone sees.
So, somebody did come in. Did you want to read?
Me?
Yes.
Sure.
Sure. I said, I don't know, maybe. Did I miss anybody else? Did you want to read? Oh, good. All right. I'm sorry. Sorry, just.
I got you. All right. Thank you, guys. This is my first time here. My name's Josh. I've got 3 kind of in progress. One is winter trees. Winter trees no longer swish in the wind, an echo of an ocean. Leaves return to the earth, a celebratory descent, suspended in time, back to where it all began. Piles to jump in, smoke that transcends, compost, death, and reincarnation. The trees clatter now, bones exposed, no longer surrounded by lush, vibrant faces. We see them for what they truly are, and we're worried about them. As if they haven't triumphantly weathered everything this world has thrown at them for decades. We hear them dancing every night to the same clumsy, wild, violent jazz that fills our lives. We can't do anything but dance with them in that windy moonlight on the back porch, an ocean of collisions, hoping that they don't kill us while we sleep. Now, the other 2, we could start with the Halloween one or end with the Halloween one. Which one do we want to do? And? You got it. All right. It's not really a Halloween one. It's just, it's spooky to me. Okay. So, how does one write a story? I suppose it begins with a spark, a scene, a detail, an explosion of light. But where does this spark come from? Static electricity? A random act of kindness? Chemical reactions? A butterfly landing on your finger? Does it bloom as a flower does? I wonder which kind. What is its hue? Demeanor, chemical imbalances, imperfections. Which camera angle should you use? Bottom shooting up? Straight on from above? Wide angle? Hyper close up, then wide? How do you ensure that you have captured truth in a bottle? It's subjective nowadays. Does truth matter at all anymore? And the last one, very short. The sound of wildlife is constant. Possums, squirrels, crickets, coyotes, and deer. Tonight, the coyotes are screeching, haunting the night in a chorus of pursuit. The wind turning the forest into a vacuum of energy. Then, the crickets stopped. In a mad, primal scream. It's all we could hear from the side of the house where our boys slept. They found something.
Great, thank you. I was like when somebody goes, oh, no, make that good. And just give us your name too. Olivia.
Hi, this is my first time.
Yay.
This poem I wrote back last year when I was in like a situationship, as I would say. You said you weren't great at talking. I didn't want to believe, but now I'm walking. Through silence that says so much more than any words you've spoken before. I called you yesterday in need of a friend. Someone hit my car, didn't make amends, but of course you didn't pick up the phone. Left me dealing with it all alone. Today I just wanted to hear your voice, but it's clear I'm not even your choice. You're around when it suits your plan, texting back only when you're out of town. Man, what game are you playing?
What's your aim? Hiding me away like I'm part of your shame. If you have to keep me out of sight, maybe you're not doing what's right. The truth is, my feelings still remain. And I think you know you play on that pain. You give me just enough to stay, a sprinkle of care to keep me in play. But let's face it, this isn't a friendship. Feels like I'm the one always steering the ship. I reach out, I care, I put in the time, while you sit back and give me no sign. Conversations without any weight, I guess I was wrong to think this was fate. I'm done putting in all the fight, while you barely keep me in sight. That's all I have.
Love all the new people, and I think that's what I feel like Freshly Brewed Poems is, because we're not a lot of hype and stuff. Even though you say I look calm, I'm not. I'm frantically running around going, "Oh God, is everybody happy, happy, happy?" Yeah. So, did I get everybody? Anybody else that I missed? Stuff. I mean, we kind of have enough time to go through another round, but I think maybe we'll just stop here and maybe visit with each other and stick around. Does that sound like a good deal? You're always a good judge of that for me, so cool. Thank you guys. Trying to think of anything else. I did tape this. I have been putting the videos onto YouTube. I now have a YouTube channel, Freshly Brewed Poems. It's pretty basic. It just put all the videos there because Facebook has deleted them all. So you can find some of the Facebook videos on there. So enough of my chatter, and you guys have fun. Be safe and hang around and talk to each other and share your stuff. Oh yes, absolutely.
I hadn't read out for like 12 years or so, and tomorrow night will be a year from when I read here for the first time in North Carolina in a decade or more. And I just want to say that Debbie, I love her readings. You can go to her afternoon one, that's cool too. But she makes everyone feel comfortable, and she's very inviting. And we get new and older people, and it's such a great group, and thank you to her.
You're going to make me blush. All right, guys, thanks a lot. So hang out, enjoy yourselves.
Thank you. Yeah. It's pretty relaxing. I live like on the embedded in between. Yeah, in the woods. Yeah, these cows are everywhere. That's good. Just walked in as you were. But I just did this one. Maybe because I found the 4 book. Wait, the Pet Cemetery one, right? Well, Pet Cemetery, I read that.
Everybody.
Well, yeah, I mean the poem. Oh, yeah.